Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Reviews. This week, we're going to review Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is a multiplayer FPS shooter game developed by Turtle Rock Studios, published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, basically released on October 12, 2021 to pretty much everything except Switch. So Nintendo, Windows, PlayStation, and Xbox. PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, and X, all that good stuff. Basically, it's considered a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, really. I mean, that's what it is. If you think about it, it's kind of Left 4 Dead. It's got some cool mechanics in that we'll kind of delve into, and we'll get what everybody's take is on this Left 4 Dead game. I mean, Back 4 Blood. So we'll see what everybody thinks of it. How about we jump in on this one and say, Shane, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
Left 4 Dead Part 3. It's fantastic. Overall, for the game it is, it's fantastic. There are issues with this game. Obviously, this type of game is going to have issues. But I think overall it's fantastic. We had a good time playing it. We had many profanities throwing out for the right and wrong reasons. It's overall a very solid game. This type of game it's not hard to really describe. It's A to B, kill, some objectives. That's it. Which is great for jumping in with your buddies, relieving some stress, cornholing some zombies. It's a good time overall. I'll get into some of the technical stuff here in a bit, but I enjoyed it. I really think it's a good game. We all played the beta. Me and Nick played the beta, excuse me. And I had a little hesitancy, a little, concerns, but other than that, man, this thing is much better than the beta was, and I enjoy it. Nick, what about you, bud?
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun through the campaign. It's 4-player squads, just like Left 4 Dead. I mean, it's pretty much what you said, Shane. It's Left 4 Dead 3, but it's called Back 4 Blood. It's everything about it's a lot of fun. If you don't have a 4th player, 3rd player, whatever, it can match make with people, even crossplay, I'm assuming with probably PC players. And then if you don't want to do that, you can switch it to a private lobby and you can have bots take the place. And the bots are fairly adequate. They don't take the place of a real person, but they can sometimes get you out of a pickle. They do seem to have a little bit of extra stuff that they can do. Their guns are crap, but they're kind of balanced out by being able to heal occasionally, and they drop ammo from time to time. So that's nice to have. But, really, ultimately, you want to have another person if you can. So otherwise, this game was great. We played it on Xbox because it came out day and date on Game Pass. So we didn't have to spend any money on it, and it was a fantastic game. Even if it didn't come out on Game Pass, I probably would have spent money. Definitely would have spent money on this game. I had a lot of fun with the campaign. The campaign was really good. So I think overall this is a great game, and I'm ready to continue playing. Patrick, what about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as everybody else. It's Left 4 Dead with a couple of different, a different mechanic. We'll put it that way. But it's Left 4 Dead. But which is great with a party, which is great in this game. I liked the co-op campaign. I like that you could do the co-op tutorial piece of the campaign as a group as well. You don't have to do the co-op. You don't have to do the tutorial by yourself. The first mission is a tutorial, and you can do it with your group of friends. There's some controversy surrounding the game a little bit with the co-op and no achievements and stuff, but I think Turtle Rock said that they're basically addressing that. I will say, don't play this game single player. The bots are dumb as a box of rocks. That like Nick said, they got some cool things. Like the bot that we ran with was the melee guy. I forget his name, but he often would, something like that. He would heal you all the time, and he would drop ammo. And I'm like, how the hell do you have so much ability to heal and drop ammo all the time? Because he would just be like, "There's ammo there," and I'm like, "Where'd that come from?" Or he would be like, "Here, let me patch you up," and you're like, I don't think his ability is to heal. But that's about all he was good for, because when we got in a group of zombies, his ass was staring at the wall doing nothing half the time. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. But, we did get through some pretty tough missions with bots. For the most part, we had a 4-man team through. I'd probably say 80% of the game. About 20% we were running with a bot. But we all beat the campaign together as usual. We all try to bum rush the content. I don't like the multiplayer. I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't a fan of the multiplayer at all. What I thought was going to be a horde mode, which is their swarm mode, was just you playing the bad guys, or swapping off. One team plays the bad guys and one team plays the good guys and it swaps out every other round. So basically you see who can get through the furthest waves and survive as the cleaners, and whoever does that wins the game. I'm not a huge fan of that. I wish they would have had regular horde mode in there, but maybe that's going to be a DLC. They are talking about 3 DLCs coming out in the season pack for their roadmap, which means within a year we should have three new additions to content, because we've already beat the campaign. So the only incentive for us to keep playing is to up the difficulty level, which we're all a bunch of idiots and shoot each other. So I don't know how we're going to make that work. We all end up shooting each other in the back a lot of time, because all you hear is be like, Hoffman, check your aim. And you're just like, you ran in front of my gun. I can't help it that you run in front of my gun. So there's a lot of accidental shootings in this game. So, did you guys like the multiplayer mode? Did anybody like the multiplayer mode?
I enjoyed it a little bit. Just a little, though. And the only reason I can say I enjoyed it a little bit is because once there was really no tutorial for it. So when we jumped in, we're like, we monsters. Why are we monsters? And then, we figured it out as we went. But, I got a couple kills as a monster, got a couple kills as a human. But it's a rinse and repeat game. It's all about survival time. At least that mode. I think that is the only mode of that, but it's not what I expected, which brought it down for me, because I was going in expecting horde mode. I set up my deck cards. One thing you can do, you can solo, campaign, or swarm. You can set up a deck of cards that's going to give you abilities and extra health, extra bullets, things like that. Kind of a typical thing, but it really makes a big difference, especially when you're playing a campaign. So I set it up like that. And we jump in there and it's like, who the hell are these people? Why are we monsters? That was kind of a bummer that they didn't have that in there, because this game to me would be freaking awesome with a horde mode, because there are portions. I mean, technically the game has horde modes built into the campaign if you really want to consider it. But, a good old fashioned horde mode like Gears would be fantastic. I think they definitely need a new camp or a new multiplayer mode for it, though, and hopefully they will bring it out in the DLC. What about you, Nick? Did you get into it at all?
No, it's not my. I mean, I don't mind versus, but I mean it's a small playing field, and it's just battle of attrition, and then like Patrick said, just waiting to the waves. And see how far you can get in waves, and that's about it. And then you change teams and try again. So for me, that wouldn't really. Once we started playing it, I was already done playing it. I didn't want that mode. I was looking for the same thing, some sort of like horde mode. That's what I thought Swarm was, but it's not, and that's fine. If they have that mode, it's for the people that like it. But I would, like Shane said, the game pretty much is a horde mode. But I would like to see like a wave. You're in like a countryside, with a big house, and then you have waves, and then after so often maybe you get access to like miniguns or being able to shutter up the windows or something like that, in the farmhouse or something like that, as you fend off waves of enemies. That would be cool, and it could be a possibility that they will add that in this roadmap sometime down the line. So, but it is what it is.
Yep. And so let's kind of talk about the card system a little bit. There's this weird, I don't know how to call it. It's kind of weird. Players create their own decks, and the decks are broken into like different types of cards. There's like brawn, discipline, reflexes, and all these different types of cards. And there's also what's in the game when you run through the campaign called the director. And the director is playing corruption cards, which are cards working against you. They don't all work against you. There's like, I guess they all do actually work against you to some extent, but some cards give you money in the form of copper, because that's the currency you use to spend to upgrade your guns or buy team upgrades and stuff like that. There are cards that benefit you individually, there's cards that benefit the team, and then there's like corruptor cards. And the corruptor cards are what the AI director plays at the beginning of every match that does things like make behemoths armored, or makes the big tall boys run when they don't normally run, or, they armor different things, or they make different monsters spawn, or they do different things like make fog and crap like that. So that's how they can kind of change the playthrough a little bit, which is an interesting concept because, you can build your deck out how you want, but you have to kind of be careful because some cards have benefits and drawbacks. Like there's certain benefits that give you like extended ammo, but also prevent you from aiming down the sights of your gun, or they'll give you, increased ammunition at the expense of defense or something like that. So you have to build like a 15 card deck, I believe is what it is. And every act has like so many missions in it. And between Act 1 and Act 2, an example is that's considered a run. If you don't die within that run, you just keep getting to play new cards every round, and all those cards get to stay and play. So between rounds, which is kind of nice. But if you die, they get wiped out, and you get to draw so many more back up. So the benefit is eventually, if you don't die and you get to the end, you could have a massive deck in play to where you're just OP. But if you die really close to the end, you get kind of screwed where you only have like 6 or 7 cards in play. So it's kind of a cool concept. I liked it. Did you guys like the card system? I mean, there's so many different types of things you can do with the cards. Nick, I mean, what did you think of that card system? I thought it was kind of ingenious and a really interesting way to play.
I love the card system. Like at first I didn't really play around with it until like a little bit, like maybe halfway through Act 1 or so. And then I really started to look at it and I'm like, wow. And, at the base, you can buy supply lines. So every time you finish a level, you get supply points, and you have supply lines which you can buy new cards with. And it's all random, of course, what supply lines you get. So you get random cards. But once you start piecing it together, you kind of build your own character in the sense of what you want them to be. Do you want them to be DPS, or do you want them to be more ability to like heal themselves or heal the team? There's team cards, and there's individual cards and team cards, and like Patrick said, there's cards that benefit you but might negatively benefit or negative affect you in some certain other way. So yeah, it's really cool to sit there and just look through all the cards, because there's so many in the game that you can unlock. And once you get a whole slew of cards in your inventory, like it'll take you probably about 20 minutes or so to go through and just look at each card and say, okay, do I want that? Do I want to take that with me? And besides the cards, I love the corruption cards. I just love the spin it takes on the maps, because the corruption cards when you go through a run, they seem to be set, but they seem to be random. Like if you die and restart your run, you're going to get new corruption cards each time. So you don't know what you're going to get. And sometimes it's like, okay, that's not bad. And sometimes it's like, oh crap, I don't want that. Like the fog makes it almost impossible to see anything. But it just makes it harder, and it puts a variation on it, and that kind of gives it replayability. And also, I love the whole run system, and I love creating a run. Every act you create a run, and it's like, how far can I make it from, the start of the act to the end? Because by the end, like Patrick said, you're going to be powerful. You're going to be OP. Everybody's just going to be mowing zombies down. If not, you're just going to be a little weakling with a little pop gun. Pop, pop. Stay back, zombies, because you ain't got nothing. Because as you go, you also build up not just your cards, but your guns and the attachments to the guns. And then you have upgrades in your inventory that you can upgrade for your team, like your offensive and defensive, offensive and defensive upgrades and stuff like that you can upgrade for the items you can buy, like med kits and stuff like that. So they become higher tier, which they work better. But if you die in that run, you got to start a new run over. And if you start that new run over, everything starts at 0, even though you are like halfway or towards the end of an act, which makes it harder because as an act goes on, it gets increasingly harder as the act progresses. So, and there's more corruption cards that get introduced as the act progresses. But what do you think, Shane? Do you like the card system?
I really did. Just like you, I didn't really grasp it until, we were halfway through Act 1 or whatever it was. And, and trying to plan out, when we were all kind of got more familiar with the cards, we're trying to plan out team cards. cards that give the whole team abilities, team bonuses, team stuff that really helps the team out, but the cards are so unique in little ways or, really big ways. One way was, I picked up a card for my shotgun. For every pellet, which I never really grasped how that worked, but for every pellet that hit the zombies, I would get a real minor percentage of health back. And there was one for the knives. If you knife an enemy, you get health back. There was one point, 4 of us are standing underneath this wall and it's just raining zombies and we're just, stabbing them, health is just, it was really cool. And then you get those corruption ones, which the fog, I agree with Nick, was really cool. When it first came up, it was like, holy crap, I cannot see nothing. And I thought that was just really, really cool. The hard part about it, though, is like Nick and Pat said, Act 1, you're going and you're going and you're going and you're, just doing great. And boom, you die. Everything is gone. You're trying to play a boss level with basically beginning stuff. Granted, you don't have all the corruption cards, but you don't have all of your cards either. You don't, there's a good chance you won't get those weapons back you like. Because I ran around with a super shotgun the entire time that I could, because that to me was like the perfect weapon for me. I mean, I could just, pray and spray an alleyway and, be doing great. I think the cards were really cool. I didn't think I was going to like them at first because I'm not a card guy. To me, it just seemed like more crap to deal with. But man, once you start using them and you really figure out, combinations, it's like I equipped one card that gave me, I can't remember what the perk was, but it slowed. Oh yeah, it gave me 2 primary weapons, but it slowed down my swapping of weapon speed by 25%. So I found another card that I had that doubled my swapping speed by 50%, and it gave me an ammo boost. So it was like, way to counterbalance it. It takes a little math, but man, it works really well, and I enjoyed it. I was really surprised that I enjoyed it. Pat, you had that look like, yeah, me too. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I liked it.
I was very apprehensive of the cards at first. I'm like, I'm not going to, what the heck are these cards? But you find out that there's some really good ones in there. There's like 61 total cards in the game currently, and that's just active cards. That's not counting corruptor cards. So the corruption cards. So there's 61 of them. And yeah, and it seems random. So you can only have 15 in your deck at any given time, and it seems when you go into a match, it lets you draw like 5 to start off with, and then as you progress further, you add 1 or 2 more depending on the level that you get into. And there's an achievement for running like 25 cards in a single run, so it's really kind of hard unless you can survive through the entirety of the act. Because if you start out, I think it pulls 5 and you get to pick 5 and then you get to do 1 for the first mission of every act. So you get 6. And then to think about how much you have to do to get 25 active cards. Now your team can help you because the team cards count towards your stuff. Some cards stack, some cards don't. You have to look into all that stuff. There is a easy mode build out there if you want to look, but you got to get all those cards, and the cards come from things like supply lines, finding them in the wild, stuff like that. So the game is pretty awesome. I enjoyed the campaign. The problem is that we played a couple of days last week, and then we played a lot on Saturday and a good chunk on Sunday, and we've already beat the campaign. So we're a bunch of gun happy people. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do the next level of difficulty that starts adding in the team damage, because we're going to end up killing each other more often than not, I think. Somebody's going to run out in front of your gun and get capped in the head, and basically a run can end multiple ways, right? If the whole team gets incapacitated, it's a wipe, and you get so many tries. I think it's only 2. Like you got one respawn. So you die once, it brings your time down to 0. And then if you die again, that's the end of your run. Also, you only get so many deaths per person, and you can increase that with cards, like 1 to start out with. And I've seen as high as 3 and 4 with some people with some cards played in there. So that's how many times you can go down and run before your team can pick you up. Now, I don't know if this counts because there's cards in the game that basically, if your whole team survives, you get 500 extra copper. I don't know if it counts, but when one of you goes down one too many times and you can't pick them back up, you can find them bound in the map somewhere. So they're like bound to the wall. You can free them, But I wonder if that, because we never tested that to find out if you freed that person, if you still got the card that basically said all team members survived, because technically all 4 of us entered the safe room, right? So.
There's so much lag about the game, but I will have to say I did have a big problem. I think we all agree the biggest problem the game has is difficulty ranging from point A to B. I mean, it ramps up to unfreaking believable. I mean, you can plow through 90% of it and, difficult, but not overbearing. And then you get to a point where it's like, holy crap, it does not stop. I mean, it's ridiculous. The difficulty fluctuations is my biggest issue with the game. It really is. It doesn't make it unplayable. It just makes it hella hard at points when it just, just feels like it's jumping up for no reason.
The difficulty doesn't scale properly. So, everybody's kind of heard what we really like about this. So let's kind of talk about, I guess we'll do one real quick topic. The difficulty, I'll agree with Shane, it doesn't scale right. Like Rookie, there's times where it just bum rushes you and you're like, what the crap? And other times like, this is too easy. So let's just kind of go round robin here. What was your favorite map, Nick? What was your favorite map in the game? Yeah, you don't have to remember the name of it, just like the scenario. I don't remember the name of it.
Trying to think here. My favorite map. My favorite map, even though it took us 2 tries, was the military compound towards the end, where you have to run through that area. We first went in there and it was all foggy, remember? And then the second time we died and it pulled and that was the end of our run, and it pulled a new card that didn't have the fog. So I think that was fun because like at the end, the stress was so high, and just getting through there felt so like, yes, we got through it, because that was like a crazy map.
It felt like 2 different runs because of the fog. The first time you're like, I can't see 2 feet in front of my face. Where am I supposed to go? And the second time you're like, oh man, I can see everything. And then you get to the end and you're like, it's still the same crap at the end. I got to run this gauntlet. Shane, what about you? What was your favorite one?
I definitely agree with the military complex one. It was one thing you have to do on every map with you and your team is you have to coordinate. Really say who's bringing what, how you're going to buy things, whatever. Just keep that in mind, because that really helped out on that mission. Because there's ways, because there was countless freaking enemies on us. I mean, I don't even remember what we got, but there was hundreds each for us. But that was really cool map. I did like that, especially the foggy one. And, we're like, oh my God, I can't see. Oh, where's the button? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, holy crap. But mine was the very last level. It took us several tries. We're not even going to BS you on that one. It was several tries. I don't want to give anything away, but when we got into that level, I did not realize I had equipped a card that gave me like extra ammo, but I couldn't zoom, and I had already lost my good shotgun. So, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to no scope everything because I picked up I think an AK or something. God, it sucked. But the level itself is really cool. It had a very Gears feel to it from start to finish. And I really liked it. I really liked it. The character designs for different monsters you run into really are, varied, and you ran into every one of them on this one. So I really enjoyed that level. I think it was interesting. It had some familiarity, kind of a Gears feel to it, which I enjoyed. It was a
nail biter.
Yeah. Yeah. It was literally dragging ass to the wire. I mean, I had to sacrifice my soul for you.
I was going to say, that was the only way we won, is we had to use Shane as bait and just leave him behind.
Yep, I was getting mauled by 100 of these bastards, and they were dragging me away. But it was all right. We won. That's what matters. We got the achievement on the end.
Shane sacrificed himself for the team.
I do that a lot.
So for me, my favorite one was the jukebox level. I love the crap out of that. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And they come in and attack the jukebox. There's an achievement we got to go after, by the way, which is protect the jukebox. Don't let them shut the jukebox off ever. which we're all gonna have to get in and just try the achievement for that, which is basically just keep them from destroying the jukebox. So it was kind of cool. You just run the jukebox and it summons all the zombies away while they're trying to load the trucks and stuff. So it's kind of fun and cool. My least favorite was probably the diner, but that one, I think we had to do that one the more times than any of the other levels was the diner.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one sucked because it never felt like you had a good place to be. Like everywhere you are, you know what, we should head over here. That'd be a good idea. We go over there and it's zombie hands all over you. It was pain. But, you know, when we did it, though, there was that sense of accomplishment, you know, and a lot of sweat, maybe a few pee stains, but we made it.
Cool. Anybody, you know, I would recommend that this game is meant for groups. If you have to pug it, you're probably not going to have as much fun, in my opinion. This game is fun because it's with friends. If I had to pug this or run solo, I probably wouldn't have got as far or played as much as I did. So if you're not playing with friends, you're probably not going to have as good a time. It's still fun, but there's too much coordination and too much needing to discuss with your teammate strategy, because there's times where we're like, I think we just got to run it, guys. And if you can't coordinate with the people and they're getting lagged behind and you're like, see you, buddy, I'm running, you know? So, you know, if you're not playing with friends, I don't think you're going to have as much fun. But I guess we probably need to kind of wrap this one up. Does anybody got anything they want to bring up before we turn this one over?
No, if you can't find somebody to play with and you jump online, you know, play with randos, just be good to each other. Be cool.
Nick, anything from you?
No, it's just a game, you know, what Shane said when you play with randos. But yeah, if you have Game Pass, definitely play this. It'll be, especially if you have a group of 4 friends, it's definitely going to be a fun time. And if you don't, buy it, because I think it's worth it.
Yep, very much worth it.
Yeah, every dime.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna throw these guys back in the water so them and KFC can keep feuding it out to see who comes on top. But you know, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one. Let us know what you thought of this review. Let us know what you thought of the game. If you enjoyed it, you know, if you played solo, let us know if you really enjoyed it, because I don't think very many solo players really enjoyed it. So let us know what you think.
See ya.